If your dog has been coughing for weeks or even months and you've tried everything without getting real answers, then this video is going to change everything for you. My name is Dr. James, and after 15 years of practicing traditional veterinary medicine, I discovered something shocking that most veterinarians simply don't talk about. The number one reason your dog is suffering from that persistent, annoying cough isn't what your vet told you. And today I'm going to reveal exactly what it is, why it's happening, and most importantly, how you can stop it naturally without expensive medications or invasive procedures. I remember one particular case that completely shifted my understanding of chronic coughing in dogs. A beautiful golden retriever named Bailey came into my clinic, and her owner was absolutely desperate. Bailey had been coughing for nearly 8 months straight. The owner had already spent thousands of dollars on different medications, antibiotics, and even specialized imaging tests, but nothing was working. And every time they thought the cough was getting better, it would come roaring back, sometimes even worse than before. When I looked at Bailey's medical history, I noticed something that most conventional veterinarians completely overlook. Bailey wasn't just coughing because of an infection or a simple respiratory issue. There was something much deeper going on, something that nobody had bothered to investigate properly. After doing a thorough examination and asking the right questions, I discovered that Bailey's chronic cough was actually stemming from her digestive system, not her lungs. This is the shocking truth that the veterinary industry doesn't want to talk about. When I explained this to Bailey's owner, she was absolutely stunned. She had taken Bailey to 3 different veterinarians, spent thousands of dollars, and nobody had even considered looking at her gut health. But here's the thing that most people don't understand about how dogs' bodies work. Your dog's digestive system and respiratory system are intimately connected through something called the gut-lung axis. When your dog's gut is inflamed or imbalanced, it doesn't just cause digestive problems. It creates a cascade of inflammation throughout the entire body, and one of the most common places this inflammation shows up is in the respiratory tract, causing that persistent, frustrating cough that just won't go away. Let me explain exactly how this works so you can understand why your dog might be suffering from this right now. Your dog's digestive tract is lined with something called the intestinal barrier, and this barrier is absolutely critical for your dog's health. Think of it like a security system for your dog's body. When this barrier is functioning properly, it only allows beneficial nutrients to pass through into the bloodstream while keeping harmful substances out. But when your dog's gut becomes inflamed or damaged, this barrier becomes compromised. Scientists call this condition leaky gut syndrome, and it's far more common in dogs than most people realize. When the intestinal barrier becomes damaged, harmful substances, toxins, and undigested food particles start leaking through into the bloodstream. Your dog's immune system sees these invaders and launches an attack, creating widespread inflammation throughout the body. This inflammation doesn't stay localized to the digestive system. It travels through the bloodstream and affects every organ system, including the lungs and airways. Now, you might be wondering what causes this leaky gut in the first place. Well, I'm going to be completely honest with you because this is something I see every single day in my practice, and it breaks my heart because it's so preventable. The number one culprit is the food you're feeding your dog. Most commercial dog foods are absolutely loaded with low-quality ingredients that are designed to be cheap and shelf-stable, not to support your dog's health. These foods contain excessive amounts of grain fillers, artificial preservatives, synthetic vitamins, and ingredients that your dog's digestive system simply wasn't designed to process. Your dog is a carnivore by nature, and their digestive system evolved over thousands of years to break down meat and natural whole foods, not processed kibble filled with corn, wheat, and soy. When you feed your dog these inflammatory foods day after day, week after week, month after month, you're essentially creating a chronic inflammatory state in their gut. This inflammation damages the intestinal barrier, leading to leaky guts, which then triggers that persistent cough and countless other health problems. But here's where it gets even more interesting. And this is something I discovered through my own research and clinical experience. Like, beyond just the food itself, there's another massive factor that most veterinarians completely ignore, and that's the balance of bacteria in your dog's gut. Your dog's digestive system is home to trillions of bacteria, and these bacteria are absolutely essential for your dog's health. They help digest food, produce essential vitamins, and most importantly, they regulate your dog's immune system. When this bacterial balance gets disrupted, which scientists call dysbiosis, your dog's immune system goes haywire. Instead of protecting your dog from real threats, the immune system starts attacking the body's own tissues, creating inflammation everywhere, including in the respiratory tract. And this dysbiosis is caused by several factors, including low quality commercial dog foods, unnecessary antibiotics, stress, and environmental toxins. I've seen cases where a dog received antibiotics for a minor infection, and that single course of antibiotics completely destroyed the beneficial bacteria in their gut, leading to chronic health problems that lasted for years. Let me tell you about another case that really illustrates this point perfectly. I had a Labrador named Max come into my clinic with a chronic cough that had been going on for almost a year. Max's owner had taken him to multiple veterinarians, and they all suggested the same thing: more antibiotics, more medications, maybe even surgery to investigate the lungs. But when I looked at Max's history, I discovered something crucial. Max had been on antibiotics 4 times in the past 2 years for various minor infections. Each course of antibiotics had further damaged his gut bacteria balance. By the time Max came to see me, his gut was essentially a wasteland with almost no beneficial bacteria left. His immune system was completely dysregulated, and his body was in a constant state of inflammation. The cough wasn't the real problem. The cough was just a symptom of the real problem, which was his destroyed gut health. Now, let me tell you exactly what I did for Max, because this is the solution that I've refined over years of clinical practice, and it works remarkably well. The first thing I did was completely change Max's diet. I removed all commercial kibble and replaced it with a high-quality, species-appropriate diet that consisted primarily of whole proteins like chicken, beef, and fish, along with carefully selected vegetables and healthy fats. I made sure to include foods that are naturally rich in omega-3 fatty acids, because these are powerful anti-inflammatory compounds that help heal the damaged intestinal barrier. I also added foods that are rich in something called prebiotics, which are essentially food for the beneficial bacteria in your dog's gut. These include foods like sweet potato, pumpkin, and certain types of fiber that feed the good bacteria and help them multiply. The second thing I did was introduce a high-quality probiotic supplement specifically designed for dogs. Now, I want to be clear here because there's a lot of misinformation about probiotics. Not all probiotics are created equal, and most of the probiotics you find in pet stores are essentially worthless because they don't contain the right strains of bacteria, or they don't have enough viable bacteria to make a difference. I specifically looked for a probiotic that contained multiple strains of beneficial bacteria, including lactobacillus and bifidobacterium species, which are the most important bacteria for maintaining a healthy gut barrier. I also made sure the probiotic had a high CFU count, which means colony forming units. You want at least 10 to 20 billion CFUs per dose to see real results. Max started taking this probiotic daily, and within just 2 weeks, I could already see improvements in his digestion and his overall energy levels. The third thing I incorporated was something called bone broth, and this is absolutely crucial for healing the gut. Bone broth is rich in collagen, gelatin, and amino acids like glutamine and glycine, which are the building blocks that your dog's intestinal barrier needs to repair itself. When you simmer bones for many hours, you extract all these healing compounds into the broth, and when your dog consumes this broth, they're essentially getting a concentrated dose of gut healing nutrition. I started giving Max a small amount of homemade bone broth mixed into his meals, and this made a tremendous difference. The bone broth provided the raw materials that his damaged intestinal barrier needed to rebuild itself and restore its function. The fourth component of Max's healing protocol was adding specific anti-inflammatory herbs and supplements. I used turmeric, which contains a powerful compound called curcumin that has been extensively researched and proven to reduce inflammation throughout the body. I also used omega-3 supplements derived from fish oil, which are incredibly effective at reducing inflammation in the respiratory tract. Additionally, I incorporated something called slippery elm, which is an herb that creates a soothing coating over the intestinal lining and helps reduce inflammation in the gut. These supplements weren't just random choices, each one was specifically selected because of the scientific evidence supporting their effectiveness for healing the gut and reducing inflammation. Now, here's what happened with Max over the next few months, and this is the part that really demonstrates the power of addressing the root cause instead of just treating symptoms. Within the first month of this new protocol, Max's cough had decreased by about 50%. Within 2 months, the cough was almost completely gone. Within 3 months, Max was essentially cough-free, and his owner told me that she had never seen him looking better. His coat was shinier, his energy levels were through the roof, and he was acting like a completely different dog. But the most important thing was that the cough didn't come back. It's now been over 2 years since Max started this protocol, and he remains completely healthy with no signs of the chronic cough returning. This is the difference between treating the symptom and treating the actual cause. Now, I want to share with you the exact steps that you can take to help your own dog if they're suffering from a chronic cough. The first step is to evaluate your dog's current diet. Take a close look at the ingredients list on your dog's food. If you see corn, wheat, soy, or any kind of grain as one of the first 5 ingredients, then you need to make a change. These ingredients are inflammatory and they're contributing to your dog's health problems. Look for a dog food that has a whole protein source as the first ingredient, whether that's chicken, beef, fish, or lamb. Make sure the food doesn't contain artificial preservatives like BHA, BHT, or ethoxyquin. If you can, transition your dog to a fresh, whole food diet, either homemade or a high-quality commercial raw or fresh food brand. I understand that this might seem expensive or inconvenient, but I promise you that investing in your dog's food now will save you thousands of dollars in veterinary bills down the road. The second step is to introduce a high-quality probiotic supplement. Start with a small dose and gradually increase it over a week or two to allow your dog's system to adjust. Look for a probiotic that specifically states the number of CFUs and the specific strains of bacteria it contains. Give this probiotic consistently for at least 2 to 3 months. This is important because it takes time for the beneficial bacteria to reestablish themselves and restore the balance in your dog's gut. You should start seeing improvements in your dog's digestion and energy levels within the first few weeks, but the real healing takes longer. The third step is to add bone broth to your dog's meals. If you have time, make your own bone broth by simmering bones for 12 to 24 hours. If you don't have time, you can purchase high-quality bone broth from reputable sources. Just make sure it doesn't contain any added salt or seasonings that could be harmful to your dog. Start with a small amount, maybe a quarter cup mixed into their food, and gradually increase it. Your dog's gut will start healing almost immediately when it gets access to these healing compounds. The fourth step is to incorporate anti-inflammatory supplements. Turmeric is safe for dogs and incredibly effective. You can give it as a supplement or you can add it directly to your dog's food. Just make sure to mix it with a bit of fat like coconut oil or fish oil because turmeric is fat soluble and it needs fat to be properly absorbed. Omega-3 supplements are also crucial. Look for a fish oil supplement that's specifically formulated for dogs and follow the dosage recommendations based on your dog's weight. These supplements will help reduce inflammation throughout your dog's body, including in the respiratory tract where the cough is occurring. The fifth step is to be patient and consistent. Healing a damaged gut doesn't happen overnight. It typically takes anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks to see significant improvements, depending on how long your dog has been suffering and how damaged their gut is. During this time, it's absolutely critical that you stay consistent with the diet changes and supplements. Don't switch things around or give up after a few weeks. Give your dog's body time to heal. I've seen so many cases where owners gave up after just a few weeks because they didn't see immediate results, but if they had just stuck with it for a couple more months, they would have seen incredible transformations. Now, I want to address something that I hear from dog owners all the time, and that's the concern about cost. Yes, feeding your dog a high quality diet and giving supplements does cost more than buying cheap commercial kibble. But let me put this in perspective for you. If your dog has a chronic cough and you take them to the veterinarian, you're looking at diagnostic tests, medications, possibly multiple visits, and potentially expensive procedures. I've seen cases where owners spent $5,000, $10,000, or even more dollars trying to treat a chronic cough with conventional medicine. Meanwhile, implementing the protocol I've described costs a fraction of that amount. You're not just saving money in the long run, you're also giving your dog a better quality of life and preventing other health problems from developing. Here's something else that's really important to understand. Once your dog's gut is healed and their health is restored, you can often reduce the amount of supplements they need. The goal isn't to keep your dog on supplements forever. The goal is to heal their gut, restore their health, and then maintain that health with a good diet and occasional supplementation as needed. Many of my patients eventually reach a point where they only need minimal supplementation because their gut health is so well established that their body can maintain itself naturally. I also want to mention something about stress because this is another factor that most veterinarians completely overlook. Stress has a profound effect on your dog's gut health and immune system. When your dog is stressed, their body produces cortisol and other stress hormones that suppress the immune system and increase inflammation. If your dog is living in a stressful environment, dealing with anxiety, or not getting enough exercise and mental stimulation, this will absolutely contribute to chronic health problems like a persistent cough. Make sure your dog is getting adequate exercise, mental stimulation, and a calm, stable environment. If your dog has anxiety issues, work on addressing those through training, behavior modification, or if necessary, with the help of a veterinary behaviorist. Let me also share what I've learned about environmental factors. Sometimes a dog's chronic cough can be exacerbated by environmental toxins, poor air quality, or exposure to irritants. Make sure your dog isn't being exposed to cigarette smoke, strong chemical cleaners, or other air pollutants. If you live in an area with poor air quality, consider using an air purifier in your home. These environmental factors might not be the root cause of the cough, but they can definitely make things worse and slow down the healing process. Now, I want to answer a question that I know many of you are wondering. What if I've already tried antibiotics for my dog's cough and they didn't work? Well, this actually makes sense now that you understand the real cause. If the cough is being caused by a damaged gut and systemic inflammation, then antibiotics won't fix it. In fact, antibiotics might make things worse by further damaging the beneficial bacteria in your dog's gut. This is why so many dogs end up with chronic, recurring coughs that never seem to go away. They're being treated with antibiotics when what they really need is gut healing. Here's another important point. If your dog has been on antibiotics recently, it's even more critical that you start a probiotic supplement immediately. The antibiotics have killed off a lot of the beneficial bacteria, and you need to replenish them as quickly as possible. Don't wait. Start the probiotic as soon as the course of antibiotics is finished. I also want to be honest about something. While this protocol works incredibly well for most dogs with chronic coughs caused by gut inflammation, There are some cases where a cough might be caused by something else entirely, like a heart condition, a tumor, or a severe infection. If your dog's cough is accompanied by other symptoms like difficulty breathing, lethargy, loss of appetite, or coughing up blood, you should definitely get your dog checked by a veterinarian to rule out these more serious conditions. But for the vast majority of dogs with chronic coughs, the cause is gut-related inflammation, and addressing the gut will resolve the cough. Let me tell you about one more case because I think it really illustrates the power of this approach. I had a senior dog, a 12-year-old Cocker Spaniel named Bella, who came to me that came with a chronic cough that had been going on for 3 years. Her owner had essentially given up hope. She thought Bella was just getting old and that the cough was just something she'd have to live with. But when I explained the gut inflammation connection to her, she was willing to try the protocol. Like, we changed Bella's diet, started her on probiotics, added bone broth, and gave her anti-inflammatory supplements. Within 6 weeks, Bella's cough had almost completely disappeared. Her owner was absolutely amazed. She told me that Bella seemed like a completely different dog, more energetic, more playful, and just happier overall. That was 2 years ago, and Bella is still doing great. So here's what I want you to do right now. If your dog has a chronic cough, I want you to start implementing these changes today. Don't wait. Start by looking at your dog's current food and making a plan to transition to something better. Order a high-quality probiotic supplement, get some bone broth started, or order some online. These are simple, actionable steps that you can take right now to start helping your dog heal. I also want to hear from you. Have you noticed any connection between your dog's diet and their health problems? Have you tried any of these approaches before? I'd love to hear your stories and your experiences in the comments below. This is how we build a community of dog owners who are taking control of their dog's health and not just accepting whatever a veterinarian tells them without question. And if this video has helped you, please subscribe to the channel because I'm constantly creating new content about dog health that goes way beyond what most veterinarians will tell you. Turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. I'm dedicated to helping you understand your dog's health on a deeper level and giving you the tools and knowledge you need to keep your dog healthy and thriving for as long as possible. Your dog deserves the best, and you deserve to have the knowledge to give them that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.